I'm TJ Walker and I've worked on the Trinity acoustic guitar syllabus. There's a variety of things I've had to record for the tracks for the syllabus. Some of them being solo acoustic guitar and some guitar sat with the track. And there's different challenges for each. With the solo guitar, it's to try and make it sound natural and clear, so you can hear everything that's going on. With the tracks, it's been tricky because you wouldn't necessarily mix it in a way that you would mix a finished product, because you probably want the guitar to be slightly more prominent, so someone listening to it, trying to work that part out, will be able to hear it clearly. So yeah, that's been an interesting part of it. I think the benefit of having the tracks is that, particularly with some of the simpler pieces they work musically, they're good standalone pieces, but as well as being good pieces musically, they have to address particular technical challenges because they're exam pieces. By having the tracks to go along with them, it almost makes them feel like proper pieces that you're able to play with a band, and it makes them pleasurable to play rather than just playing in isolation a sort of simple guitar part. When you're fitting a simple guitar part with effectively a band, it makes it more interesting. So for recording the guitar parts, I use this guitar, conveniently, which is a Martin HD28, which I don't tend to use this guitar live, because the advantages of a good guitar for recording is it's very lively and vibrant, and when you're playing live, that tends to cause problems with it feeding back. So I've got different guitars that I use live, which are kind of designed for the purpose. They might have a slightly heavier top, which means they're less inclined to vibrate and feedback when using them live, but means they're not quite as rich sounding when you're recording them. So I tend to use the same strings live or for recording, and the strings I use are they're made by Elixir, and they're coated with a kind of Gore-Tex, I think it's Gore-Tex coating, and it stops all the grime off your hands getting stuck in the little grooves, and it basically means they remain brighter for longer. They're not possibly quite as bright when you first put them on as a set of uncoated strings, but I tend to kill strings. I've got quite sweaty hands, particularly live, and I used to have to change my strings every gig, and even though these strings are probably 4 times more expensive, they last about 10 times longer. Particularly with the solo guitar pieces, for me the sound of it mic'd up, the microphone kind of in front, pointing at the 12th fret, not getting too much boom from the sound hole. That's kind of the most natural sound to my ears. I mean, it's all taste, but that's the way I like to record the acoustic guitar. The mic I use to record the guitar is a large diaphragm studio mic. From memory, it's an Audio-Technica 4033, I think. That's not a particularly expensive microphone, but it sounds good. The process I've used for most of the tracks, they varied slightly, but for most of them, I've created a MIDI file from the actual score and imported that into my sequencer. So that gives me the kind of definitive guitar part, which I then need to base the track around. And then, for example, in some of the parts, there's some rits or rows, so the tempo's varying within the piece. So I'll need to create a tempo track, which then the guitar and obviously the rest of the track has to follow. And then, probably the way I've done it with most of it, I've then played on the pieces that I've played the guitar on, I've played the guitar part first, and then I'll fit the rest of the track around the guitar part afterwards. And they've all varied in instrumentation. Some are sort of traditional bass drums, maybe rhythm guitar. Others have been a bit more sparse, maybe just a bass and drum track, or percussion even on some of the more Cuban sounding things.
Guess I won't see you again, right here.